The 76ers have lost 7 in a row now, and it's not getting any better, clearly. And before I say any more, just check out what PG had to say last night.
And push to have the first three out of the break go like this. I guess just how shocking, surprising, disappointing, whatever adjective you want to put on it.
I mean, it's all of it. You know, we, regardless of who's playing, who's not playing, to have admirations or for this group to believe that we can be not even, you know, to get to the playoffs, but make a push towards it. I mean, we've shown no sign of a team that will compete, and you know, we just don't have, you know, the habits of a champion or a playoff contending team would have. Um, so,
No shit. They do not have anything that a playoff contender team has, but that's not true. They have a big three, which I've said in previous videos doesn't work anymore. The big three thing is just because of salaries and all the different stuff like that, and people don't necessarily sacrifice money, which I don't blame them. 'Cause I wouldn't sacrifice my 40 and $50 million either. But big threes just don't work anymore, and players are better. So with big threes, you get loaded players with minimum contracts who are usually guys who either aged or not that good. So that's my theory on why big threes don't work anymore. But it's for him to say that they don't have a chance to make the playoffs is somewhat false. They're not going to make a championship run, which I know is the goal for the team. But they do have the opportunity to get into the play-in and the playoffs, as you can see. They're sitting at 11 right now, even after losing 7 in a row. They're only a few games out of the 10th spot, which would get them into the play-in tournament. Chicago made a bunch of trades that they're obviously not trying to win, so they probably don't even want to be there. Chicago obviously is looking forward to the draft and the future and stuff like that. But with PG and Tyrese Maxey, I mean, Philly probably could make a play-in and maybe a playoff run, depending on if they could get through any of the 3 teams that would, technically be in front of them. But I don't know. For Philly, I just believe that they should just sit it down. They should sit down PG. They should sit down and B. They should, for all intents and purposes, just end their season now and salvage what's left. Maybe let some of the younger guys play. Maybe load manage Maxi because you're already wasting his youth. Thank goodness he isn't in his prime yet. He's averaging 27, 3, and 6 this year on 44% shooting, which is really good. He's 24. He'll be 25 in November. So it's like you're wasting his time. I'm sure he's upset about it, even though he's becoming a young leader and everything. But think about it. He just signed a big contract. It looked like you guys were going to be in contention or whatnot because Embiid did play in the Olympics, so it's not like he hasn't played any ball or anything. And Paul George was coming off that big season last year where he basically drug the Clippers by himself for most of the season. Him and James Harden, they did their thing out there last year, but Paul George looked like somebody who was worth the money. And not saying that he's not, he's probably not motivated. I mean, if you watch your star player or the person that's supposed to be the face of the franchise and the leader of the team, which is clearly Tyrese Maxey now, but for the Embiid part, if you're Paul George and you're looking forward to going into this situation where you think you could win a championship in the East, which is always talked about as being the worst of the 2 conferences or whatnot and the weaker. And I guess they are, because if you look at the record, some of the teams in the West would be in the playoff chase if they were in the East, or if they took the 16 best teams and just put them in the playoffs, there would probably be like 4 East teams. So maybe 5, but that says a lot that it wouldn't be 50-50. So, but that's another video for another day. But imagine, like, he's 24, Maxey, and he was just signed that big contract, coming to the season thinking that we got a big three. We're going to do it. And they actually have some nice pieces around it. Before they traded Caleb Martin, they had him. They have Oubre. They have Andre Drummond. Like they have a few like really good pieces, like solid role players. So I thought that they were going to be a team that were going to compete with Boston. I actually didn't see Cleveland coming. I thought Cleveland would be good, just like they were last year, but I didn't see the, number one team in the East scenario. But good for them. But I thought that Philly was going to be in that same situation. But I think I said in an earlier video, Embiid, he came into the season. Well, no, he didn't come into the season because he started 11 or 12 games after the season started, and he looked terrible then. In my opinion, he looked bad in the Olympics. Some people say he looked good. Some people say he didn't. But in my opinion, he never should have played in the Olympics. He got hurt in the playoffs. But so that was kind of selfish on his part, and that was kind of stupid on the team's part to let him play and not get healthy or whatnot. And that is exactly why I see some people getting fired this year. Hopefully not Nick Nurse, because I don't really think this is his fault, even though I think Philly should be better than they are. But Maxey has basically been playing along because Embiid has played 38 games this year. Or has he played 38 games this year? I'm pretty sure he played 38 games this year. But Paul George has only played 38 games this year, and I may have them confused. I apologize if I do. But Maxey's the only man, and Maxey missed a little bit of time. So they've been banged up. They've made some trades, and Embiid is averaging like 23.8, basically 24 points a game, which for most people in the league that are not superstar players, that would be good. Actually, that's probably pretty good for a superstar player. But I mean, for him and what he has been doing over the last 2 or 3 years, 24 points a game, and even expecting maybe a little bump down in point production because of Paul George being there. This dude ain't the same. He's just not the same. He actually starting to give me the Andrew Luck vibe. Maybe he should just retire. The only reason I make the Andrew Luck comparison is because he was a great football player in the time that he played, but he dealt with a significant amount of injuries. He missed a lot of games. He just, as Embiid has only played in like 52% of his games. Like literally, he's only played in 52% of his games, and Andrew Luck played in, I have it right here. Andrew Luck played in 48% of his games. So star players missed a lot of time, franchise players at that. And so not just the average star player. These are franchise players that miss significant amount of time and who very well could have been all-time greats. And Embiid, I guess, still has time because he's playing. But Andrew Luck was looked at. I mean, he took the Colts to the playoffs multiple times. And the year he retired, I actually thought they had a really good chance to make it to the Super Bowl. But I guess we'll never know. He's doing the GM thing, I think at Stanford now. So, but the Embiid part of it, his career is looking like it's headed in that same direction. Just watching him on the floor this year is kind of demoralizing, even to watch him bending over, just looking gassed, out of breath. He's limping all over the place. Like, sit this man down. Like, please sit this man down. Like, I understand that he caught a lot of bullshit early in the year when the report came out about him being laid. We've heard that he loves McDonald's, and Tyrese Maxey kind of had to check him. And I think I even made a TikTok video about it before I started this. But, then I remember he wanted to get back at the person that said something about him. Oh, I got to track this person down because that's the reason I'm out of shape. But I don't know. Personally, maybe he should retire. He's basically missed half of his career. He missed the first 2 years of his career because of his foot, and he's dealt with injuries every single year since. And now he's in his 30s, and I know from being in my 30s that they can be unkind when you're beat up. So I just think it's over for him. Well, health-wise, not skill-wise. Health-wise, if he can't fix the knee this time, this is probably it, unfortunately. And I wish we had some funeral music for him, but it could be the end because his knee appears to be just that bad. It reminds me of Brandon Roy, whose knees just got that bad that he had to retire. It wasn't because of his ability, because Brandon Roy was a dog. And I believe Embiid is a dog when he's healthy, but when the hell is he healthy? When is he healthy? Never played a full season, never going to play a full season. But maybe he should. I heard somebody say it before, but maybe he should go to Germany and figure out what Kobe Bryant did all those years ago when he had that knee issue, or Adrian Peterson. But different mentalities, different type of players, different everything. But like Paul George said, these guys don't have any championship pedigree, any championship mentality. He's clearly checked out. I question if he even really wanted to be in Philly. I truly question if Paul George truly wanted to be in Philly, or if it was a money thing or whatever, because I never thought Philly was a good look. I thought that when they were talking about it, if it was true or not, that Orlando was interested. I thought Orlando probably would have been a better fit for what they were trying to do. But I always thought that he probably should have just stayed with the Clippers and took whatever deal. But the Clippers look very smart and the Sixers look dumb. Daryl Moore is almost certainly going to get fired. You just gave Embiid this $190 million or something like that $1 million contract, and he may never play on it, or he may never play completely healthy on it. You gave Paul George a 4-year deal. You didn't have to. You could have filled the team out with better role players. He's averaging 16 points a game. This is Paul George, who was balling last year. And some of it probably because he's unhappy. Some of it because he's probably hurt too. He's playing hurt. He's hurt as well. He's banged up. So they really probably should just sit Paul George and sit Embiid for the rest of the season, even though they can still technically make the play-in. But is it worth it? You're not going to win a championship. So I just truly think it's the end for I think it's truly the end for the Philadelphia 76ers and probably some people in the organization. But please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. Please comment. Let me know what you think about this video. Let me know what you think about the 76ers and their season. And, well, their season is over, so they're not. For a team that's gunning to win a championship, for them not to win a championship or to even be in this situation, the season is over. Season is over.